Hey, American contractors, viewers of the American Contractor Show. I'm here with John Dye at Win the Storm, and I have to tell you, anyone that is associated with American Contractor Show, you are a badass.
Big shout out to American Contractor Show. If you don't know, you definitely need to check out the Storm Summit. They're doing it in excellence. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? This is your friend, Francisco Serrano. If you haven't checked it out, American Contractor Show, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, you need to go them, like them, start learning about your craft.
Hey, I'm Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral System. Check out the American Contractor Show. The truck that they've got is awesome. Everything else that they have going on.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor that's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Hang on, guys. Batteries here. The batteries. No, the battery's almost dead on the receiver. Yeah. Can you go grab them? Well, guys, looks like I am bad luck with our batteries here. Every time I check, no matter what, apparently they're in the printer room. Yeah. Okay. So, well, here we go. As usual, the battery is probably going to die here in a minute because for some reason Hello?
Oh, there it goes.
Okay, anyway, what's up everybody? Leaving your all, John Choquette here with full batteries. Everything should be fine. Thanks to OAC Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor Show. Check them out in the description below as always for sponsoring our videos and making all of this possible. And we got a bunch of stuff going on today. We have the potential of some more tornadoes across the Mid-Atlantic. We had quite a few tornadoes yesterday and the day before from the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred. It is now moving into the Mid-Atlantic today with more tornado potential. Tomorrow we could see some hail in the Front Range in the Denver area. We'll be seeing, could possibly get some big hail tomorrow. We'll find out about that. And we are watching Tropical Storm Henri. Notice I got a hurricane icon on here. Could we possibly see our first landfalling U.S. hurricane this weekend? It's looking possible, so we'll kind of break that down for you guys in a minute. As always, sign up for the Thunder Road Race for Recovery event. This will be on September 15th, about a month away here in Norman, Oklahoma. You want to be a sponsor, you want to sign up. Description below, there's a link. Sign up for there. You can follow everything that you got to do to get yourself signed up for that. Roofers in Recovery, great cause. 100% of the proceeds are going to be going to that. So yesterday, we had a fair amount of storm reports, mostly in the southeast here in South Carolina, North Carolina, actually parts of Georgia very early in the morning, where we did have a few tornadoes from the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred. There was quite a bit of instability and the fact that a tropical cyclone's rotating, so there's a lot of shear in the air. It's able to pop out a bunch of tornadoes in the area. And we also had quite a bit of wind in the Mountain West region near Denver, Salt Lake City, all that from storms that moved through here in monsoon season with some gusty winds there. So that brings those storm report totals. We had 13 tornadoes yesterday. No hail, but 60 high wind reports. And really what Fred's doing is just kind of adding to our tornado numbers here. And even though we're still running about 400 behind from what we had last year, if we get a bunch of tropical systems, we might kind of catch up a little bit, but I think chances are we're going to be far behind 2020 at this rate. So currently across the country here, we're going to start in with zooming in on the Pennsylvania and Maryland area. We do have a tornado watch in effect from about College Station over to the Pennsylvania-New Jersey border down through the Washington, D.C. metro. All these little showers and storms here, any one of them could spin up a tornado, so we'll be watching this carefully. Obviously, we'll be mapping anything that does occur through the afternoon. This should be a threat through this evening and possibly into tonight as well. Off to the west here, we have a lot of rain in the city, and actually this is going to be any potential for severe weather this afternoon for hail. This is going to be really focused here in Utah. Thankfully, we are getting a lot of rain here across Salt Lake City metro. Again, extreme droughts happening, so it's very good that any kind of rain is very welcome across the Mountain West. And then finally, off to the south and east, away from the United States, you can see both of the tropical systems here in one frame. We have Tropical Storm Henri right here, probably going to become a hurricane pretty soon. And we now have Hurricane Grace down pulling away from Jamaica. So we'll be checking on those a little bit as well. And temperatures across the country, it is August. It's cooler than normal for a lot of the country. 74 in Dallas. It's raining. In the 80s up in Minneapolis, and in the 80s and low 90s, pretty much across the eastern 2/3 of the country. So we're looking at for that future radar. We're going to start here in Utah, like I mentioned. Rain going on now, and there will be some storms that fire up this afternoon. Notice by 2 o'clock Central Time, so about 1 o'clock in Utah. All these thunderstorms popping up. Could see some hail with this, some gusty winds for sure. Lots of thunder and lightning, and thankfully some beneficial rain. And that'll be pushing through. And notice the coverage. There's going to be a lot of activity here across Utah this afternoon by about 3, 4 o'clock. And again, could have some marginally severe hail as well as gusty winds. And that'll be pushing through the evening and even into the overnight hours. Again, biggest story, a lot of beneficial rain for the Mountain West that has been in that exceptional drought through this year so far. It won't get rid of the drought by any means, but any rain will definitely help the situation at hand. And then we pull through the overnight hours. Notice again, a lot of rain looking like going to maintain itself through the overnight. And then future radar here across the northeast with the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred. And you can actually see here a little bit aggressive compared to what we're seeing on radar, but you get the idea. Activity, especially this afternoon, the peak heating of the day, so your best chance of seeing those storms that could spin up little tornadoes anywhere from pretty much the New York, Pennsylvania border down south through the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore metros, and even east towards the East Coast, and possibly even near New Jersey and into the New York City area going well into this evening. So keeping a close eye on that. We'll be mapping stuff. It all is going to be on Tropical Storm Fred in one big map over multiple days, since it's all associated with the same system. And so make sure you check that out when it does become available. Keep an eye on those alerts. So the only hail risk for today is going to mostly be, again, in Utah and in parts of Wyoming for this afternoon after about 2 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Local time here out in the Mountain West. Salt Lake City, Casper, low chances of that hail. I think heavy beneficial rain and gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more possible for this afternoon. You can start off with that wind gust potential 60, 65 mile per hour winds, maybe even a 70 coming down the slopes of the mountains here is possible. But overall, it's very scattered activity, and I think the majority of the severe activity is going to stay south of Salt Lake City. So I think we'll be in that low risk for today. Moving off to the east, there's also a chance we could see some gusty winds as well in the heating of the day across western and middle Tennessee and parts of northern Alabama and Mississippi and even into eastern sections of Arkansas. All that low chance of gusty winds up to 65 miles an hour. And then finally here I have the tornado icons because this wind risk is almost exclusively for tornadoes. So We have a low chance at any given city, but I think there will be numerous weak tornadoes today across sections of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, and even into the New York City area into tonight. So low chances for any individual city. Again, these are going to be few and far between, but I think there will be quite a few tornado warnings issued in this general broad area for this afternoon. Looking at tomorrow, we do have a chance for the Denver area, better chance for hail than what we're seeing today, starting about 7 a.m. and then pushing forward here into the afternoon. Look at that, about 1 o'clock Central Time, so about lunchtime here in Denver. Some storms may be firing off the Front Range and moving across the metro, and then continuing through the afternoon, some activity around 3, 4 o'clock, and then pushing away by dinner time. We could see some hail with this, and possibly from Cheyenne all the way down to Denver, so we'll break down what we're expecting for size here in just a second. As we push into the overnight hours, this will all push into Nebraska and South Dakota, where you could see gusty winds as well as that hail potential. So what are we looking at for that hail forecast for your Thursday, especially here in the Front Range? Notice I got up to that golf ball size hail possible. Zooming in here, the Cheyenne areas I both have, whoops, I didn't have a pause in there, I guess. So the Denver and Cheyenne areas had a moderate chance up to that golf ball size hail. So pretty much from I-70 points north is going to be your best bet. So maybe not so much down by Castle Rock, but better chance for Collins, Colorado, Denver, Colorado, Boulder, places like that. Unfortunately, again, there was no pause in there, so it just jumped right up to up north here with a much lower chance of that hail, quarter, $half size in Rapid City and for Bismarck. Looking ahead for Friday as well, looks like a pretty broad risk of severe weather is going to be possible here all the way from the Canadian border up in Minnesota down into Texas. So this is not all going to be a hail risk. I think there's going to be a lot of wind with this. It's going to be a big cold front moving across the country. So from Oklahoma City down to possibly even Lubbock, all the way up to Minneapolis, Fargo, International Falls way up there, Omaha, all of what you guys could see wind risk as well as a hail risk, especially when storms initially form. So more likely off to the west, portions of the Dakotas, Nebraska, possibly central Kansas, maybe even into Oklahoma as well. Could see that hail possibly for your Friday. I'm keeping you guys updated with that. We'll have a full update for that tomorrow. So now we're going to check in on the tropics. Fred is not getting updates anymore. So Fred is no longer a threat outside of that tornado threat we already talked about. Grace became a hurricane this afternoon here, or right about lunchtime. Wind 75 miles an hour. Grace will not be impacting the United States. Looks like Grace is going to be going just south of Cozumel here for tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. Winds about 85 miles an hour. It's very possible. Could be a little stronger than that if things ramp up across the ocean here. We're moving pretty quick though. I mean, for a hurricane, 15 miles an hour is going at a pretty solid clip. 85 mile an hour winds when you make the landfall, come out in the Gulf of Mexico, and looks like it'll re-strengthen to about the same strength before it goes into the eastern shores of Mexico, and at that point it will very rapidly weaken as we hit all the mountains here in central Mexico. So that's what we're looking at for Grace. Again, not a threat for the United States. It may ruin some vacations for folks in Cozumel and Cancun for the next couple of days, but overall the United States not a problem. However, we have Tropical Storm Henri. This could potentially be a threat to the United States. Right now, 65 mile per hour winds for Tropical Storm Henri, moving west about 8 miles an hour. We push the track forward here, and I have it stopped at Friday evening, where it looks like by Friday evening, Henri will become a hurricane. It's very possible Henri could become a hurricane between now and Friday, and that this could change intensities. There are some couple models showing that this kind of ramps up pretty quick here, but right now, official forecast has it becoming a hurricane Friday evening. And the big thing of note, and reason why I'm even talking about the potential for landfall in the United States, notice by the time we get to Sunday morning, look how big the cone gets. So there is going to be a lot of uncertainty right now with the way things are setting up of whether Henri's going to get shunted south and off out to the sea, or possibly we have Henri pushing further and further west as we have a big area of high pressure off to the east here that's going to block Henri escaping off to the northeast, and the only way to go is up. So we'll be watching this carefully. Right now we have portions of far eastern Rhode Island and Cape Cod, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, all at risk for landfall at the moment. There's some models that show it even further off to the west. The overall track has been gradually pushing west. We're still quite a few days away. Notice this is at 9 a.m. on Monday. It's pretty much parallel with Cape Cod. Be watching it super carefully. The Northeast doesn't get hurricanes very often, and when they do, they're usually pretty intense. This is an area of the country that, though they do get storms, they're usually spread out enough that they're not as prepared as places like along the Gulf Coast. So we'll be looking, keeping a close eye on this. If you look at what the models are forecasting, the spaghetti models, you can really see that wide spread of what we're expecting here right now. Tropical Storm Henri, and while we're keeping a close eye, we've got one model here way off to the east, and then we have one way over here showing it much further to the west. And then the further west Henri gets, the better chance it ends up moving towards the U.S. And notice here we have a couple of the models, the HWRF, this is one of the more reliable tropical models, is even showing a curve more similar to Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Sandy. Not saying this is a Sandy by any means, but it's something to watch. The westward trends of all the models. If we bring this closer to the coast here, that could potentially have landfall in the United States. So we'll be keeping a close eye through the rest of this week, and of course, if anything does change and it's looking more significant or possibly out to sea, we'll be here to update you guys with that. And even if it looks likely it'll make landfall, we'll figure out a way to go from Oklahoma to the Northeast. So we'll be keeping you guys updated. Don't miss out on any of that activity. Follow us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that jazz, all at Hail Trace. Very easy to find. Hit see first, hit the bell, subscribe, do whatever crap you gotta do so you don't miss all of our stuff. And as always, give us a call, 855-334-4245. If you want to find out more your first time here, you want to ask more questions that maybe we didn't answer in this video, we're here to answer questions for you guys. As always, email us at info@hailtrace.com or visit our website for more details and to message us directly on there as well. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time like we do every single weekday. Have a good one.